Hi everyone, Aquarian Humanitarian here. If you're new to this channel, we have been putting out self-development videos related to mental health, consciousness, soul missions, soul purpose that would help you ascend to the 5D New Earth. And today we will talk about Gnosticism. So with that said, I want to welcome Sir Tato Malay, who is the founder of the I Am Kamalayan movement. Kamalayan means consciousness. Welcome, Sir Tato, and thank you for being here again and
Of
sharing your
course.
knowledge as always. How are
Oh,
you today?
okay. Hello. Magandang hapon. Hello. And I'm happy again to be a part of this podcast of
Of
Aquarian
course.
Humanitarian here because I am being able to share really some things that I know that normally I don't get to talk about, not even in our Kamalayan Cafe sessions, because
Hmm.
sometimes the people there are not ready to hear what we are normally discussing here. I don't know
Hmm.
why here we are given that kind of, I would say, privilege to discuss things that really are not so much, I would say, being discussed normally by the media, especially.
That's
So
correct.
here we are now going to again discuss some important matters that we need to understand because actually people might not know that they're actually already are doing them or being a part of it or being able to think about it, but they're not aware that there is such a thing as such that we are now going to discuss, like what we are now going to talk about. And today, as we had planned, we are planning to talk about, we're going to discuss something that is not really new, but for some, for many, I suppose, it's not something that is really understandable in terms of what it is really all about. We're talking about the Gnostics or about Gnosticism, or what does it mean to be a Gnostic? Well, as I've always been trying to tell people about my beliefs, people had been actually telling me that there is something wrong with me. What do you mean something wrong with me? Your views are not normal. I mean, what is not normal about my views? I mean, it's not according to what we really believe in our religion. Why? What's wrong with my beliefs? I think there is something that I believe that is right about what I normally think about when it comes to my beliefs. But they would actually tell me it's different. So I studied exactly myself when it really tried to make me kind of confused, no? Because sabi ko, so what's wrong with me? I mean, baka naman tama sila, no? So I might as well find out what exactly am I doing or what am I exactly believing. And then I discovered that I was really on the right kind of thinking pala, but on a different level. Same same things, but on a different level, different path. And I'm talking about being a Gnostic. Now, what are the signs of being a Gnostic? Yun na nga eh. Kasi when I actually was telling my views or sharing my views to people, they told me, you know, your views are okay, but it's not according to what we believe in our Catholic religion. So, sabi ko, why? What is different about it? And so, I tried to look for signs as to what exactly is different in terms of what I am now believing. And now, one of the signs that I came across is that you don't actually, I don't actually interpret the Bible literally. I thought when I was reading the Bible, I was looking at the messages literally, but I don't think I really understood it that way. So when I shared my my views as to what I have read and studied, and they said, you know, that's a different aspect that you're talking about. I mean, you're reading the same verses. And sabi nila, New Age ka eh. Sabi ko, ano yung New Age? I mean, it's a new way of thinking about, all these beliefs. Sabi ko, but again, I consider New Age as something like, well, yun na nga, associated with mga crystals, mga I would say, some kind of a meditation that you do or practice or rituals. So sabi ko, I think that's how I understand what New Age is. But again, sabi ko, so what's wrong with my interpretation of my belief? I mean, of the Bible. And sabi nila, it's different. And so I tried to find out what was different. Doon ko na recognize. I was interpreting it in a different kind of I would say, concept. So it fell under what I learned later on, that it is called the metaphysical interpretation of what I had been doing, metaphysics. So I was talking about quantum already. So what's wrong with that? Aren't we supposed to understand it that way? No. Sabi nila, I mean, it's a far cry from what we normally teach our. Remember, I was talking most of the time. I was talking to priests because I was very active in some Catholic organizations, and I was also was an announcer, a program host in Radio Veritas, a Catholic radio station, where I actually discuss or interpret the homilies as well. And so that was when I found out that I was doing it differently nga pala. Okay, so sabi ko, so what's wrong? Well, it's different, sabi nila. So sabi ko, okay, so doon, and later also found out that being a Gnostic also interprets the Bible on that level, metaphysical level. So sabi ko, Gnostic ako siguro. But I had to confirm my being a Gnostic in terms of how I actually look at my faith. And so what are the other sides of being a Gnostic? And yun na nga, a Gnostic believes of the God within. Yun ang ine-emphasize ko eh. The God inside us, the God within us, or the God in me, or I am God as me. Sabi nila, that's not exactly practiced in the Catholic faith. I mean, God is separated from us. God is up there, we're down here. Sabi ko, why are we going to look at it that way? Why can we not actually think of God inside me? Since God is omnipresent, God is everywhere. God is in everything. So why can God not be inside me? So yun, medyo na ano sila doon. They cannot anymore discount that I would say my way of rebutting all their claims. Kaya sabi ko, God is everywhere. So why can't God be inside me? So ganun na yung tapos na yung usapan. O nga, no?
They
Kasi
will
kaya
go
nagsasabi, God
against
is,
the protocol. That's why they can't discuss anything else outside of
yeah.
the teaching.
So in other words, okay, um, God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient. So what is wrong with God being inside me? And if I acknowledge God inside me, what does that mean? Is it different from how you look at your life as a religious leader? Inano ko sila. Sabi nila, well, of course, we all also accept that. Yan, doon ko na sinabi. Kasi gusto nyo, kayo lang ang magsasabi ng God is inside you. Kami hindi. Kayo lang yung may privilege ka ganun. Binabara ko sila. Alam mo, kasi they're my friends. Sabi ko, I mean, they're very close to me. I mean, we drink. I mean, look at this priest. I mean, there are times that we drink together. Lakas uminom ng mga yan. Sa misa pa lang. Every time they hold masses, I mean, they always drink wine. And so, they always get tipsy in a way while doing mass. Kasi, remember, early in the morning, hindi pa nagbe-breakfast yan. And then they will sip in wine. They're not sipping in wine na konting-konti na. I'm sure kahit nakalahati ng cup, they would finish it. And so parang may tama yun.
Oh my goodness.
So that's how, that really, I mean, that's why I'm close to them. Kasi when we drink talagang cases of beers. Talagang nauubos sa amin ganyan kami noon. And these are priests, young priests. Talaga. And they're open to it. I have another friend who's a parish priest of a certain place in Quezon City. When I visited him inside his room, I discovered mga case ng beer nasa ilalim ng kama niya. And not only that,
I thought that that they were serving grape juice, not wine.
Wine. It's all wine. Mompo. I mean, try mompo. Kasi that's the drink that's the label. That's the label of the wine that they use. Mompo. Try drinking it. Malalasi ka kahit paano.
Is that all for? Is that all? Is that what's being done across the board? All Catholic Church?
Yeah. Yes. There's always a wine. That's available.
I know that there's always.
I was an altar boy before in high school, and when I was pouring the wine one morning, I was thinking it was enough, so I put it away, and then the priest did move, and he insisted put more wine. Natatawa nga ako eh. Nagalit sa akin na, you put more wine. Yung mga Italiano yun, yung mga Italiano Cristo. Ay, nako, talagang. Anyway, so.
But the drink that they serve to the congregation, is that wine or grape
wine
juice?
Also. Yeah. No, wine.
Okay.
That's exactly what's supposed to be. That's in the Bible. Drink wine. I mean, Jesus drank wine. I mean, even converted water into wine. So what's wrong with that? I mean, it's acceptable.
No, because the church that we attended before when I was young was not serving wine. They were serving grape juice instead
wala silang
for
pera
everybody.
Siguro. Wala silang pera. Ayaw nila i-serve yung wine kasi sayang.
It's actually, it's not. Actually, when we were growing up, my parents didn't want. We didn't go to Catholic church when we were in the United States. Even here, before we even migrated, they didn't go to Catholic church. So we were in Pentecostal church in in Chicago, and
But they also serve wine, right?
They do, but they don't serve, real wine. They would serve grape juice.
Oh, really? I thought they really serve wine also.
At least that's what I can remember. Anyway.
Baka naman bilang na grape juice yun. Wine talaga yun.
No, I don't remember because it's been a while since
Sabagay, sayang yun. If they would serve wine for the congregation, they would keep it for themselves na lang. And
the way they do it is, and I never had done this in Catholic church. I don't drink in the same cup. When we were in that Pentecostal church, we would have individual glasses, the small glasses.
In the Catholic,
served.
Church naman, in the Catholic Church, people are not served wine. They're just given the bread. I mean, the host.
They do. They do.
not in some churches, yes, they dip the wine. They actually dip the host on wine, and that's what they give. I mean, but
So
it's that they are not actually making them drink from a cup. But
so in the
kasi it's in the
so in the
Philippines, it's not done that way.
okay, okay.
So it's the
Because
priest who really gets to drink only.
so they never serve wine.
No, they only
Oh,
serve the
really?
host. I mean, they only give the host.
So only
There are
the
some
priest.
instances if there's a
Mhm.
special occasion where they actually put a do a ritual. Now, kunyari, the blood of Jesus is the wine, and so they dip it on the wine, and that's the only time they actually use wine for the
That's
congregation.
interesting.
Otherwise,
I That's interesting. I didn't realize that they don't serve wine to the congregation in
they
the
don't serve
Philippines.
wine in the not
Mm,
really, but the priests
okay.
drink a lot.
Talking about the priest, I was so surprised with some of the things that you shared. Oh my God. Like
Yeah,
they're not like the one that really shocking was when you said that, they're not really being a priest for the mission, for spreading God's word, but to have a job, to
yeah,
have
because
a consistent job.
they were trapped already. They were trapped in in a community where they're supposed to work for that community. But then how would they actually earn money to live in terms of their daily expenses? So they get from donations. So that's how they actually get their earnings. But if priests don't have a particular parish and they're independently I mean, roving around. Like I know of some priests who are not members of any congregational congregation, and these are priests who actually go to go to houses and ask for money. Really, I know of some. I know some of them because we supported some of them before because somehow sabi kasi nung naalaman naman nanay ko and my father, they were very active in church. Kawawa naman yan. Well, let's do it. Support.
So
Walang
why
mihasa. I mean, they would actually come almost every week and have breakfast with us. And somehow, yun na nga, they expect to be given a, uh, a donation.
why are they not um I mean, what how come that happens? Why were they
Well,
not
poverty.
supported? No, why were
Oh,
they not
poverty.
supported by the church?
Di ba, they actually made a vow of poverty. So, bahala ka ngayon. So, how you will actually get. But yun na nga, ginawa nila. They don't actually ask for tithing. Ang maganda nun, they don't impose tithing. Unlike some other churches, they impose tithing. Dito hindi. But they will make you feel guilty very much so that you will get to give more money or for you to be able to ask for more prayers para lang sabihin natatawad ka na ng Diyos. Bigay ka naman ng malaking pera. And many of them actually got a lot of PayPal, uh, I would say, awards because of only one thing. PayPal awardee. What did she do or what did he do? Donated a big amount of money. That's all. PayPal awardee na siya. Imagine.
Um, I mean, donation coming from the person's pocket or from the congregation.
Pocket. Pocket. Personal pocket. They would go to the Vatican to give to the Pope a lot of money for
That is
them
crazy.
to be for them to
That's
be
crazy.
excused from their sins. I mean, racket talaga eh.
My God.
Of course, of course, some of them are really serious about being priests. I mean, but many of them really, they cannot live without that kind of a mentality because they need to survive. They need money to continue doing what they're doing. Otherwise, a parish church will really, I would say, um, disappear pag talagang nobody is giving them support.
So they're
So,
not
yun na nga.
getting support from Vatican? It's the other way around?
No, it's the Philippines donating to the Vatican. So all the money that they get from the donations na barya-barya, yun ang bibigay nila sa Catholic bishops group and then, donate them. That's why
So what
the
kind
Vatican is very rich.
yeah, I understand that. But I mean, what kind of compensation or service does the church, I mean that the priest get from the church? I mean, like their basic needs is not provided. I think they are, right?
Yeah,
Like their
actually, they are
food,
provided
their
a home. But
mhm.
again, as I've said, they have to raise funds for themselves. Yun ang kwan nila eh. Yun ang talagang kailangan gawin nila. They need to really go out and ask for help talaga. I mean, they're being ano naman honest about that. Okay, in this mass we will ask for second donations kasi the first donation will go to the
Mhm.
whatever and then the second one will go to this. Of course, barya-barya yan. Pero again, marami sila. So yung baryang piso, kung 1 million yung mga taong yan, 1 million din. Ano yun, malaki rin. That's why mayaman ang mga kwan.
I
Malaki
thought
ang ano.
that the money that they receive would go to like the maintenance of the church and
Well, some of
the
them, yes.
basic needs
Definitely.
of the priest, and then whatever
Yes.
is left, then go to Vatican. I thought
Yes.
that's how it's done.
That's how it's done. I mean, that's really how it's done. But it's so minimal. It's not something na kailangan palakihin natin to para, I can have more money so I can buy more things. Walang ganon. I mean, they really made a vow of poverty. Kung talagang totoo yung vow of poverty nila. But then again, people kasi are misled to giving them more because akala nila if they give more, gaganda yung buhay nila, saswertehin sila dahil nagbigay sila sa simbahan, nagbigay sila sa pare. So, ayun ang ginagawa nila. Again,
Donations.
kanya-kanyang paniniwala yan.
Mm-hmm.
So, sabi nga nila, if you want, imagine all these religious organizations, tax exempt yan.
Yep.
That's why even in Tagaytay, if you will see all the um, retreat places owned by the Catholic Church, my God, they're so big. The lots, the area, so huge. I mean, so big, and they're not paying any tax for it. Talagang grabe ang luho nila. I mean, that's why nga, if you want to get rich, put up a religion, sabi nga nila. Ginawa nila Kibuloy. Accepted sila sa taxes and everything. Imagine. Sabi ko nga
For
nga,
those
di ba, I told
people,
you na,
for those people who don't know Kibuloy, can you give them an idea who he is? Just a brief.
well, he was the one who founded the Jesus, I'm sorry, ano nga ba yung church niya sa Davao? It's the one, he put up a church in Davao.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, because of the way he ran his operations, he actually did a lot of illegal things. So aside from the sexual addiction niya, which he actually which he is now paying for inside the jail now kasi maraming girls na talaga they complain. who went to the police station and to the NPI and really reported all this. And even in the US, he has some cases like that. Anyway, they had already the opportunity to become, to be able to really serve and, help people. But then again, they actually were self-serving pala. They were more concerned about themselves. And that's where the problem would start. Talagang, that's why a lot of spiritual people who you would meet, you would say, kasi ganito, he's so mabait, he talks this way, he actually um, um, say, I mean, he believes in these things. Okay, what he talks about, what he says, what he believes in, again, that's nothing. Look at what he is actually doing, his actions. Because, I mean, are his actions aligned with what he's saying or totally opposite? So, iba na pagdating sa action. That's why nga, when people that get to hear, sabi mo na, ang galing nila talagang they know their spirituality very well. But look at what happens to them later on. I mean, because they're not actually aligned with who they are really in terms of what is supposed to really be done. They get to be doing a lot of illegal things. And that's why
Be- I
many,
think that's,
many,
and I think it boils down to people allowing it. I think that's the
yeah,
number one thing that I've been
kumbaga,
I've
ang
noticed.
nangyayari dyan nauuto. Nauuto. You know what nauuto is?
Manipulation.
Yung manipulate sila. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the
So
real way of,
so I think what we need to focus on right now is now that we have an awareness that this is not just happening, in the Philippines, it's happening all over the world. We've seen a lot of spiritual leaders that are, had done gruesome things. And so I think the one thing that I wanted to suggest to everyone is just you don't need intermediary. You can go direct to source. You can
exactly.
read the
That's
Bible. You
exactly
can.
that's exactly
So
what being a Gnostic is.
so this is what we want to
Don't
focus on.
any,
You cannot
don't
don't trust
believe in
anybody. Don't
except
I mean right now we are in a very critical time in the timeline here where there's a lot of people that we thought are good. I mean, we've seen that, since the Epstein disclosure. A lot of people still didn't believe of, what was happening until it came out in mainstream. And that's not even the worst part. There's another half of the files that haven't been disclosed. But they cannot fully disclose all of it all at once because people will lose their mind. Nonetheless, the what we're trying to do here is to let you know that um, you don't have to have intermediary to
that's exactly
have
that's
communication
exactly
to source to have like you really don't and that's what you wanted that's what you really need to work on. Don't believe on anyone because right now there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of leaders out there, or what I call wolves in sheep's clothing. And they don't even have to be spiritual leaders. I mean, your neighbors, your family, your friends, you'd see that.
yeah.
Be
Okay,
discerning.
that's exactly another sign of being a Gnostic. You don't believe or you don't worship authority. You actually discern truth within. You actually
Correct.
go directly.
Yep.
So, Gnostic talaga pala ako in a way as to the signs of being one. Sabi ko, well, okay. So I tried to find out more. And I discovered that being a Gnostic pala, you don't believe in heaven and hell as geographical places. It's always a state of consciousness,
Being. Mhm.
state of being. So that's another sign of being a Gnostic, because that's what the Gnostics are teaching. And what is aside from that is, you know, uh, you don't believe that Jesus is really a savior. Yes, Jesus did a lot of things. Jesus taught us a lot of things. But one thing that Jesus really taught us, and this is what is being emphasized by the Gnostics, is that Jesus taught many of his disciples or apostles when he actually already resurrected from the dead, when he actually rose from being dead, he became what we call, of course, he doesn't die. Of course, we don't believe in death naman talaga. What we call, this is what happened to him. He became, or he went back to his original form. And what is that? A light body. Remember, when Jesus actually went back to his disciples, when he was already considered dead, and nagpakita siya ulit. And he said, don't touch me because I am not anymore um, I don't have this body, but I am now already made out of this light body. So that was emphasized. We are light beings, and that is exactly what Jesus wanted us to become, a light being, because we are really made out of light. We came from light, and we have that light inside us, the spark of that light inside us, the divinity inside us. That's exactly what we have to think about. And in another, the robe that Jesus actually wore, the white robe, that light made out of light, diba? When he is actually being shown already ascending in the ascent and in this ascension thing, which is what we are now also trying to do, ascend. We are going to really become more of our light body now. We are changing our bodies in terms of our physical material body
Mhm.
into a light body. So that's exactly what we need to understand. Being a Gnostic. That's what Gnostics are teaching us. That you are not a material being, you are not a physical being. Your body is not really made out of matter. You are made out of light. So that's another way of looking at a Gnostic teaching. So that's why sabi ko nga, that's why some people, when I actually give talks to a place where there are many of them, and somehow I noticed that there are some of them who couldn't look at me straight. Sabi nila, tinatakpan namin yung ilaw mo. Sobrang lakas. Sabi ko, what do you mean? Sobrang lakas. Wala naman ako spotlight na galing sa likod o sa kwan. Bakit ako nga, yung ilaw nasa akin eh. Dapat ako yung nasisilaw. Sila yung nasisilaw. Hindi. There's light emanating from you. It's so strong. Sabi ganun.
Yep.
And we can see it. So those who can see it really are able to be
Mhm.
are sensitive to that light, to that kind of light. Ang dami nila, natatawa na ako. Sabi, ano ba kayo? Akala ko wala nakikinig sa akin kasi lahat kayo, akala ko natutulog eh. Yung pala, they were actually looking at a different direction. Sabi ko, sabi ko,
Your
ano
light
nangyayari
is
dito
so
na?
bright.
Sabi ko, kasi ang nakakasilaw ka. Sabi ko, ano yung nakakasilaw sa akin? I didn't understand it during that time.
Mhm, mhm.
Sabi ko, so there's light emanating from you. I mean, so bright. And sabi ko nga, kumbaga yung aura ko, yung gano'n, sabi ka nila. That's right. When people really are that spiritual, they already know at once. Sabi na, ito, alam ko, ano ka, kasi lakas ang mo ka ganyan. Or, okay. Of course, I don't see it, but they see it, and they tell
Mm-hmm.
me, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sabi ko, thank you. At least, as a matter of fact, one girl guy took a picture of me when I was sitting down, and sabi niya, grabe, and light talaga. You can see the light forming outside of him. Sabi ko, and I had the photo nga inside. Sabi ko, grabe. She really took photos of me with that, ano, showing of that light uh, emanating from me.
So
Sabi ko,
now tell
okay. So,
people, why don't you share to the people who are watching this right now? What can they do? They all light, they're all light. We're all light
we're all
being.
light beings,
Correct, correct. We're
but
light
we
being,
have
but
to
what can
evolve to
you,
a higher consciousness. We
yeah,
have
let's
to
talk
really
about
evolve
that.
to a higher,
Let's talk about that and
because,
help them get to the higher level of consciousness.
yes, uh, many of us never really would consider the fact that we have two or different levels of consciousness. As a matter of fact, in terms of our densities, or yun nga, what we call our dimensions, those are levels of consciousness. So if you're on the third dimension, you're on a low level of consciousness. I mean, this is where
Dense.
you'll find people who are um, quarreling, fighting, angry, sick, worrying, all these negative things. You'll find them on that particular level of consciousness. So the third dimension, the 3D. And then if you go to the fourth and fifth, especially on the fifth dimension, where everything, actually in the fifth dimension, you're already a light being. You're not anymore a physical, just a physical being, because you are now a totally different being when you are in this particular fifth dimension. But of course, as I've said, we are multidimensional beings. So somehow, sometimes we travel from one dimension to another. Sometimes go back to our lower consciousness, and sometimes we go back. So there's no problem with that. We just have to be aware that sometimes we are trapped again in another level of consciousness level na parang, wow, why am I here again? What am I thinking of again? Why am I like this again? Why am I experiencing all these negative things again? And somehow there is something that is inside us that we need to fix. And it's only you who can do that. You have that free will to change whatever you want to change. So, yun ang being agnostic. So, but again, what is really
Hold on, quick.
the basis?
Sir, hang on 1 second. I need to interject. I
Sige, sige.
apologize, but
No
there's
problem.
something that
Please,
came
please
in.
do that. Please do that every time. Anytime that you need to interject something.
Yeah, because there's something that got downloaded, and you need to make sure that I say it. So it's important that you, how do I say it? Um, the knowledge is already within all of us, and I just want everyone that's watching this right now to look within, because you already know the answer. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't really don't need anybody to tell you. Just be still. That's what we are told, be still, and the wisdom will just flow. But you just have to be intentional of what you want, because the answers are always there, but people don't ask, right? We were told to seek, right? We were told to seek, we were told to knock, but nobody's doing that. So you really, because of free will, and because we're not asking for guidance or anything, it's not given to us. So I think whoever's watching this, be intentional of what you want. What information do you want? Do you need guidance of why you're here, what your soul mission is, what your soul purpose is? You're gonna have to ask those questions and the answer will come. Just be still, it will come. Because right now, it's
Exactly.
very important right now with everything that's happening with the solar flash and all of that. I mean, we're being bombarded with these high vibrational energy, and there's no way that the dark negative entities can, you know, can be here anymore. I mean, we're seeing that right now. Like there are relationships being, you know, I mean, being challenged because of exactly that. Like some people are raising their vibration, some people are staying in the low vibration, and there's disconnect there. And that's
Mhm.
bound to happen when people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, raising their vibration to uh, to match Earth's vibration, right? So, in order for us to uh, be part of the new Earth, we need to be able to raise our vibration. And if we're always worrying, we can't forgive, we don't embody unconditional love. I mean, we're not gonna make we're not gonna make the higher dimension, the higher realm. And so that's why we're doing these. That's why we're having these conversations because nobody's gonna tell you that. The church is not gonna
Exactly.
tell you that. All right. That's why we're doing these talks because uh, Sir Tato, Malay, and I, we've been through that. We're very, very old souls that came here, that volunteered here to help with this shift, with this big shift that's happening right now. And this is not this timeline, um, this timeline split is not going to happen 10 years from now. It's going to happen immediately, like
That's
in the
why
next
this
couple
year,
of years.
2026 is the start. Actually, we've been starting it since 20,
Yeah.
well, I would say
I,
2012. But then again, this is really now more of where it's really now counting in terms of what's going on, the shifting. That's right. We see wars, we see all the conflicts, the violence that's happening. But to us, ikaw, Jane, and me, I mean, we're not worried about what's going on. I mean, we're not any more concerned about that kind of a problem because we're now already in a new earth. We already have accepted the fact that we are now living in a new world, and
yep.
somehow there's no violence in where we are. So
So
we're inviting everyone to join us.
that's a good point that you mentioned that because I wanted to say that you can be in the same house with
Yeah,
other people, but you're in a different dimension. You're a different,
yeah.
consciousness.
Yeah.
So it's not about physical, it's about, your consciousness, your vibration, the
And
frequency
it's
that
not
you're tuned
being
in.
I mean, people kasi say, oh, it's hard kasi to be holy. You don't have to be holy in terms of the church standards of being
Mhm.
holy. All you need to do is really be aware of what's going on inside your consciousness because you are creating your reality. If you don't like what's going on in your reality, that means there's something that's not happening right inside your consciousness, inside your mind. All you need to do is be aware and change it, and then you will see a different result as a consequence of what you're doing. And that's what
I
people don't understand yet.
yeah, I think that if people just okay, I have a shirt that says "Just be you." Just be you.
Just be you.
It's very simple, but it's very, very profound because one, how can we be how can I be me? Like a lot of people don't even know who they really are because of the conditioning, right? We were indoctrinated in school, we were indoctrinated in church. That's why you really have to, unlearn all these things that were taught in church, in school, to, peel that like an onion, peel it so that you can really figure out who you are. When you know who you
Or,
are, this is what we're teaching. Gnosis, knowledge. That's what we're
yep.
teaching here.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so since you mentioned knowing who you are, that's a guy. That's another topic that I would really, wow, would like to dwell in terms of, well, if we still have more time. No, I think we still have time. Who are we really? Aside from the fact that we are God as we, that's a given. But we are also, this is one thing that people have to understand now. We are hybrids, alien hybrids. What do we mean by alien hybrids? We are not just human, we are not ordinary human beings. We are, well, let's, the word extraterrestrial is used because we compare ourselves to our friends from another place. But then again, we were seeded with the DNA of different extraterrestrial races here on Earth. And if you understand what it means to be seeded in terms of their DNA, we have all their qualities inside us. And so if you're talking about being a Pleiadian, being an Arcturian, all the qualities, the superpowers that they have are also in us. In the same way that we look at reptilians and the Greys negatively, all of them are also with us. That's why we have what we call a reptilian brain, which we use for our survival. But basically, I mean, we have to understand that aside from the reptilian brain or the reptilian DNA, we were also seeded by other wonderful extraterrestrial beings who are super advanced in consciousness. They have the superpower that we think of. We can do practically everything that we would want to become or want to do, like to be in another place just by thinking at the moment as to what we want or where we want to be. Teleportation, beaming ourselves wherever you want. All these things are possible for us because we have the DNA in terms of who we are. We have been told that we were weak, that they actually down downgraded our DNA because they knew how powerful they are. I mean, we are. That's why now we are awakening and we are claiming back all the things that we are actually um, that who we actually are. So if you are really that, and we are really, I claim that I am a alien hybrid, having all this super DNA inside. This is something that we need to understand that we are not just ordinary human beings that are not able to do what we want to do because we are weak, we are sickly, we are poor, we don't have that kind of a power. But again, we have to erase all those things because now we are gaining back everything. The veil has been, I would say, thin on not only thinning, but it's already disappearing. So this is where the other extraterrestrial beings are now able to really see us in a different light that they know. Eventually, very soon, we'll be joining them in our galactic adventures. So we are really galactic beings in the first place. Kasi, yun na nga, if you are really able to understand that we are really galactic beings or cosmic beings or whatever being that you need to understand as a consequence of being that. What is stopping you from claiming it and doing your role, or not exactly doing your role, or being able to live that kind of a life of that of a super hybrid being? So sayang. I mean, Superman, the powers of Superman, the powers of our superheroes that we get to see in our uh, movies. We can become them. We are like them. We have the power, the real, I would say, essence of who we are. We are that. We are really super beings, and that's exactly what we're trying to explain to people now. All you need to do is evolve to that higher level of consciousness, and you become that. That's why ako, uh, ano, I will live siguro in this earth, I can still live for 1,000 more years as a result of that kind of a change in me. And then later on, I will go to other planets and seed or colonize other planets to help in terms of creating new beings in another place. That's our role. That's why they are looking at us, because we are the only ones now who have maintained our soul, the God in us, the essence of the God in us is so strong that many of the other extraterrestrial races already have, well, they don't have that much, I would say, hindi naman spirituality, but that soul in them had diminished. They're now just banking on their super knowledge of technical things, advancements. But beyond that, hanggang doon na lang sila. Tayo ang mas merong power now to really more create. Remember, we are really, okay, what is Earth? Earth is, what is the planet Earth as compared to Venus? Venus is love, okay? Or beauty, whatever. Earth is the planet of creation. Remember, that's why many of the other races really came to the planet Earth, because they knew that this was going to become the planet of creation. It will all emanate from planet Earth. And do who will create all these things? Tayo, human, super human beings. We are the ones now being looked at who will now become the superpower in the entire universe. Imagine, if we cannot think of it that way, sayang. That's why the reptilians, when they, ito yan, so Gnostic, ano to, Gnostic teaching ito. All right. They try to control Earth, especially human beings, from being powerful, because they wanted to steal, get the kind of power from us. Because remember, the reptilians anymore don't have souls. Tayo, human beings, they actually committed, they did actually commit a mistake, but they implanted souls in us, because for us to be alive, we had to have a soul. But they forgot that our soul can actually transform into a super being and becoming godlike, which they cannot anymore, because they had compromised themselves to technology. That's why they're not able to do that. They cannot even reproduce anymore. That's why they're trying to control us human beings, but because they're trying to get their power from us. And they want us to always reincarnate para lang hindi mawala ang mga human beings here on Earth, to supply their energy for them to exist. But again, as I've said, they're not anymore that powerful, and we have understood already our place in this universe. And now we are telling them, enough is enough. We don't want you anymore. We are now proclaiming ourselves as to who we really are. Remember, when all these other races came here on Earth to seed us, all of them left except the reptilians. The Anunnakis left, the Pleiadians left, the Arcturians left, because sabi nga, when the Elohim insisted that we are we are going to be given that free will, so nobody anymore will have any power over us. So everyone left except the reptilians. The reptilians, some of them left, but many still stayed. And they were the ones who actually are now in connivance with the Illuminati, with the elite.
They
They're the
control.
ones actually, they are doing the control over us now. They control us through media, control us through AI now, everything, just to be able to downgrade our power. See, I mean, they're still doing it up to now. That's why if you still are able to watch the news and be affected by it, that means they're able to control you. And they are feeding off from that way of controlling you. Because everything is just out of love and fear. So if we're feeding more of fear, nananalo pa sila. But if we make fear disappear and just do what is supposed to be done and everything out of love, wala na. Tapos na boxing. And that's what people have to understand. That we are now claiming our power. We are not anymore controlled by fear. We are now claiming the love inside us everywhere. The love that we are now are emanating or giving to practically everyone. This is who we are now. And that's exactly what I understood about what the Gnostics were teaching us. Because, you know, we are not supposed to be controlled by these beings, especially, the reptilians. The Greys are not the ones controlling us. It's the reptilians, actually. So, with that, siguro, we need to expound more really on how we need to understand our hybrid blood or DNA or our alien blood in us, because we are that. And because we are a hybrid, we have many seedings from different extraterrestrials, and we have all their qualities na maganda. So we are the best kind of being right now in the entire galactic universe that we are looking at. Kaya sabi ko nga, why are we not able to talk this way pa in terms of the disclosures that we are now looking into? But it's happening now. The
It is
disclosure will
happening.
come from us. We are now doing a disclosure. This is a disclosure event already that we are now doing. We are making our
Yeah,
own disclosures. And every time we come out here, we're always making a disclosure.
exactly.
So we need to explain that to people because that's who we are. So do we
Thanks.
still have time or
No, I
that's
think
it?
this would be a good break for us. Yeah, because if we start another topic, it might take longer
Actually,
than an hour.
I haven't touched yet on what being a Gnostic really is. I mean, the two ancient books, the Nag Hammadi and the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the different books, especially the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, it has a book, the secret book, the book, or the the secrets of Enoch. Enoch
Mm-hmm.
is a
Mm-hmm.
biblical character in the Bible, but they only mention very, very little of Enoch in the Bible. But in the Dead Sea Scrolls, he was able to write, I mean, all his writings in a book was saved, and we are able to read them. And grabe, everything talaga was really about extraterrestrials talaga pala. Kaya nga sabi ko nga, the Bible is not a story of God. It's a story of extraterrestrials. It's real story of extraterrestrial beings. We need to understand. Okay, that's
Okay.
it.
So
Next
probably
time
what
we can
would
talk more about this. We will talk more about this. Talk more about about Gnosticism pa. Because marami pa tayo pwede pag-usapan about the Gnostics.
okay. I think what we'll do next time is focus on one resource and then
Yeah,
we
one book
expand
maybe.
on that. So
Maybe some books. Yeah,
yeah, we'll focus on that so we're not scattered. But this is a good
yeah.
starting
I
point
I just made a
on,
I didn't made an intro.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
important that we understand the introduction and your background on how you got into this. Because I know you and
Gnosticism.
your family are, like they're religious and very
Yeah,
Catholic. So
I grew up and I practically was part of them, really. But inside, I was already growing apart from them. And I realized that later on. So,
okay.
thank you.
So I want to just add something real quick, something that I'd already done in social media that you all may want to look at. Like I described I didn't tell you exactly uh, who created us, but it will make you question who created us. So there's a video out there about that. And I also talk about your your different personalities. There's 1,728 versions of you out there. Um, and then I also explained there's a whole playlist um, teaching you about the 15 dimensions. So when you understand where you came from the light, like what we were starting to discuss here, then you will understand. I mean, I think that people need to look at the big picture. Once you see the big picture, then it will all make sense why
Yeah,
this is all
all the
happening right
observation.
now.
Just open your mind. That's all.
Yeah.
Open minded.
And we are in remember, everything's a cycle. So we're going through this
Yeah,
26,000 year cycle right now. You know,
yeah.
we've been here many, many
Right.
times. We're not new here. That's why sometimes you remember you have you have deja vu, you have vivid dreams, you remember some of your past lives, you're that's being activated right now. All right.
Yeah.
So in our past session, Sir Tato described how he was from the uh, the feline lineage, the Lyrans. Okay.
The Lyran.
Um, yeah. So
Felix the cat.
so you guys need to look into that and see where your lineage is. So it's exciting. Anyway, thank you again for your time, Sir Tato, and
Thank you
I will
also
see
for
you
the
again next
opportunity
week.
again.
Of course.
See you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.